I've stood in front of 10,000 people, and I've also gone live to absolutely zero. It's a strange dichotomy that can really mess with you. So let me tell you a story. 18 years old, I toured with a group called Continental Singers, and we traveled mostly across the United States, but we went over and we spent a month in Europe. Now, this was back in the days when there was still an East and West Germany, and we spent some time in West Germany and in the Netherlands and in France. We came back to Rotterdam, which is in Holland, and we were doing the European finale for the summer. It was at the end of July. We still had another month of the tour left, but that was the end of the time that all of the groups that were in that area in Europe, basically, that's the time that we were all getting together and we did a grand finale. There was hundreds of kids on the stage. There was 4 or 5 groups. Each of the groups had anywhere from 20 to 50 kids in the group. And out of that group, there was a few of us that were chosen to step forward and give our personal testimonies, basically. It was an amazing situation. Incredible. If you've never had a chance to stand in an arena in front of 10,000 people, I want that. I wish that for you. You need to know that feeling of both the, what's the right word, really basically the powerful impact overwhelming sweetness that comes to you listening about it. It is an incredible situation. Something that as a speaker, as a performer, as a human who wants to make a difference in the world, you absolutely need to deserve it. Like I said, um, I would, I really, really, so I'm standing in front of these people, and it was an amazing situation. That's when you really can't hide from I'm being seen. One of the reasons why I got called out was because I was naturally capable to not joke. They saw that in me. They knew it. I had had some other experiences and enough years in the spotlight already that they knew I could handle standing in front of that crowd. Um, and it was really absolutely mind blowing. But there have been times, and I go live every day, and I've gone live and looked up in the left hand corner and seen the number zero. It shows you how many people are watching you. And I've seen that number stay zero for the entire time, whether I've talked for 5 minutes or I've talked for the entire hour. I've seen the same thing when I've been live with guests and when they've supposedly shared it with their people and there still are no people. It messes with you. That silence, even when people pop in and they look, and I know you do it, and I'm not wanting to guilt you into it, but when they pop in and then they disappear, that sense of abandonment can really mess with your psyche. It can absolutely do something to you. In fact, if you've never had those two different, vastly different experiences, let me tell you, it messes with you. It's messed with me more than I think, and it causes me to ask questions of myself that shouldn't be there. Often that, um, imposter syndrome that we feel comes from us looking at our current situation, and I do this, and judging our whole reality based on the moment, on that number up in the top left hand corner. And what does that mean about us? Because I know you have something special too. And if I'm right, You felt that same way before. Maybe it hasn't been 10,000 and zero. Maybe it's 20 and now it's 1. Or maybe consistently you only get 2. Or maybe you see the influencers talk about how they get millions of people. And you judge yourself against that rather than understanding how powerfully important that one is. So the conversation I'd love to have with you today is, have you ever had that moment when you knew exactly who you were? I'd love to hear that time when you showed up, whether it was to one person or it was to a giant room of people, and you felt it inside and you knew you were connected. You knew who you were. And has it ever felt like you've lost access to that? What do you do? How does it make you feel? Let's learn from each other. Let's come together today and really truly look at those both sides of the fence that we all feel. That we call categories. Look at both of these things. Understand how you feel, but then also do that all again, discuss it step by step. Let's come together and let's talk about it. Have you ever had a moment where you knew exactly who you are? And then somehow things have lost. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved.